This is Platemark with me, Ann Schaefer. I'm an independent curator who specializes in prints and printmaking. Platemark is a podcast about the prints and printmaking ecosystem, and this is Series 3, in which I'm interviewing people who hold various roles in the ecosystem. Today's guest is an artist who is just starting out. His name is Bryan Raymundo. He finished his MFA a few years ago and is starting his own press, the Black Fragment Press in Omaha, Nebraska. Bryan is like a big teddy bear. He does really beautiful linoleum cuts and wood cuts and etchings. Bryan has definitely gleaned his sensibility from not only his own lived experience, but from his professors at Wichita State, Marco Hernandez, and also at Kansas State under Jason Scuilla. But he also takes a note from one of our favorite Platemark guests, Tom Huck. So you'll see it in his work, and I think you'll make the connections. We focus on fitting in and not fitting in, and making sure that you remain true to yourself and being open to the world and to other people and ideas. And I think it's a really, I felt like it was a heartfelt conversation, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I think he's lovely, and I hope he will glean some new fans from this interview. All right, housekeeping. I identify as a cishet white woman, and I use the pronouns she, her. I record Platemark in Baltimore, Maryland, the land of the Piscataway Conoy people. Images Bryan and I talk about are over in the show notes at platemarkpodcast.com. You can do other stuff over there, like support the pod. It would be very helpful to me. I would appreciate it. And what else do I need to tell you? I think that might be it. All right, let's get rolling. Bryan, it's great to see you today. Thanks for coming on Platemark.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. And I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. So we were together in Kansas at the Mid-America Print Council conference a couple weeks. Well, I guess it was a week ago as we're recording this.
Right.
And we had not met in person. So when we snapped eyes on each other, I knew I wanted to become on the podcast. So before we go too far, can you introduce yourself for everybody?
My name is Bryan Raymundo. I am the owner of the Black Fragment Press. And it's just starting up, but it feels cool to say that.
How did you come up with the name?
During my thesis, I talked about fragmentation a lot. And, it was just, it was like one of those key words, I guess, in my thesis that I used. And I'm also a big Black Sabbath fan.
What?
So I just thought like black and then fragment, put it together. It just sounds badass, So I was like, I think that has to be it.
All right. That's cool.
War Pigs helped out a lot during my thesis. Just get me amped up before it.
Is that a song or an album? I'm afraid I'm not a Black Sabbath fan.
It was a song that they have. Yeah, so just a fan. I thought it would sound cool too.
Okay. Is Black Sabbath considered metal or just hard rock or acid? I don't even know what the name is now.
I don't know. These days, I think everything I listen, like rock-wise, I listen to, I think is considered like dad rock. So,
okay.
I don't know. It just shows that getting a little bit older, I guess.
Well, it happens. Are you a headbanger person?
No, I honestly.
It rattles my brain when I do it.
Yeah, no, I honestly grew up listening to rap and hip hop. First, it was like Mexican music because I did grow up in Mexico, in Durango, and I grew up there. I was born in Wichita, Kansas, so I grew up listening to Mexican music. Moving back to the States, I just got obsessed with like rap and hip hop because it was like listening to these love songs in Spanish, it then to like the complete opposite to just like aggressive anything. So like NWA was like, yeah.
I remember them.
Yeah. And then later I got into like, I don't know, like some, rock, I guess. I listen to everything.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Cash is like my favorite artist of all time.
I like Johnny Cash as well. Although I have to say, when you're listening to one of your favorite performers sing something or play or whatever, and suddenly you notice something that's a little weird and you're like, wait, they're not as good as I thought they were. That happened to me with Johnny Cash because he did a duet with Willie Nelson, a whole album, right? Mm-hmm. And while you're listening to it, Willie Nelson will kind of set the main melody line,
Mhm.
and Johnny will follow him. And then Willie will bounce up to the harmony, and Johnny follows him.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to
Yeah.
stay on the melody.
Yeah, like I think that's why I like Johnny so much, is because he started off like with Christian music.
Right.
He went to like the total opposite side of that, to like this outlaw country type of thing. And it's just like, it's like the blues almost. It's not like about how good you are. It's just kind of like, I think that's why I like it. I don't think he's the best singer, but like knowing that you're not good but still going for it.
Well, that's true. We got to give him credit there, right? So you're born in Wichita. Are both of your parents from Mexico originally?
Yeah, my mom is from Durango and my dad's from Jalisco. And they met in Wichita.
Doing what?
They went to, there's this place in Wichita called the Cotillion. I'm not sure if it's there anymore, but it's like a music venue. And there's some Mexican band or something going on. And they just met and then, got together. It was just kind of weird.
It's fortuitous because now here you are. When did you move back, or when did they take you back to Mexico?
So I was down there throughout basically all my childhood. My grandmother was really sick. And so that's why, we had to go back and just be there for her and everything. So, I started up school over there kind of late because, everything was going on. But yeah, actually, like my grandmother, it's going to sound weird, but because of my grandmother being sick, that's kind of what got me into making art. She was really sick, didn't know really what, but I used to draw these really not good flowers because she told me it would make her feel better.
Aww.
So I was like, every morning I would draw her a little flower from her big old garden. And yes, I think that was the first step I took to being called an artist,
But I think that's really sweet.
It's weird to think about it because I'm the only visual artist in the family.
Well, and also amazing because, when I was growing up, we all, everybody drew in kindergarten and stuff. That was the thing that we all did. And we all colored within the lines and, all that stuff. And it's amazing to me that such a simple and heartfelt and loving act for you really set you down this path where most kids are like, yeah, I draw sometimes, but it's not the thing that's going to drive me to my future.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, though. That's why I think it's kind of hard to like pinpoint exactly when or what triggered to becoming, get into the arts. Because I drew, and being little kids and you just kind of draw here and there, I tried my best to avoid it.
What?
I did want to be an artist because
what?
Yeah, because my parents came from Mexico. Everybody in my family is immigrants. They came down here and they're like, you need to go to school, you need to work really hard and get a degree that will make us a lot of money, or like make you a lot of money to like have a quote unquote better life, chasing the American dream. So for the longest time I never took an art class until I took one high school class. Then I got in trouble. I got into a fight.
What?
And I got kicked out of the class.
What?
I actually talked to that teacher later, and I'm pretty sure he thought I was going to be a bum or something. But I talked to him in COVID right before I started grad school, and I told him, I was like, hey, I'm going to grad school to pursue art. And he just looked at me like, what, really? Like, he didn't believe me. So it was like kind of cool to see this little glimpse of him being, I guess, proud in a way that like I found a way that I wasn't in trouble.
Wait, were you in trouble in other areas of your life also?
Yeah, it's just I was a constant troublemaker and a
You
prankster.
were? You're such a big teddy bear.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just printmaking that kind of softened me up, I guess. I was a constant trouble. I always in the principal's office or the timeout chair, I guess, looking at the corner, or outside the classroom waiting for the teacher to give me a lecture, But yeah, I was always in trouble. With printmaking, it was just like, I don't know. It's something, when I found printmaking, it just flipped the switch.
This is fascinating. Yeah. So there's something about printmaking that helps you focus and remain focused? Are you ADD?
Well, I guess I'm everything.
Maybe. Maybe.
Everything. Yeah, I don't know. So I got my undergrad in Wichita State, and I started late in like this college career in academics. And so I started late. I think I was like 24, 25.
What?
And like, yeah, so I...
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. You've just finished grad school a year ago. How old are you?
I turned 30 in this past December, so maybe it's a little bit... I take it back. I'm not good with numbers.
That's okay. That's why you're an artist.
Yeah, you just see me trying to cut paper. It's horrible. But yeah, I graduated in 2019, right before COVID hit. But yeah, I studied in Wichita State under Marco Hernandez. If you don't know him, you gotta look him up.
I did meet him at MAPC. He was a very nice man.
Yeah, so he is the reason why I even decided to stay in school too, because I was pursuing a different degree that was going to get some sort of money, but like I was almost done, and I was like, I'm kind of bored of this. So I talked to my advisor, and I was like, hey, I need to take a break, but I still want to stay in school. I kind of want to take an art class, and printmaking was my first true art class. I saw this guy, never saw a professor that was the same color as I was, and spoke the same language, like we both spoke Spanish, our first language. And I don't know, like having that representation did like really draw me in. Then you see his work, it's like, holy shit, how do you make that,
People talk about how important representation is and seeing themselves on the walls of the museum and all of that stuff. And it starts to sound kind of like, well, really? And then you meet somebody like you for whom it was life-changing.
No, it definitely was. Like everything, it's going to sound dramatic. And everything that has been good in my life has come through printmaking. Like, everything.
Oh my God.
Like everything, like from getting my BFA to getting my MFA to meeting my wife to meeting all these amazing people, just keep going, and keep trying. And not just like in the studio, but in life. The studio is like a church to me, it's my therapist's office, it's my church. It's like everything that I need answers to is in the studio.
That's the best soundbite we've ever captured on tape. You are the poster boy for prints and printmaking. Good job.
I'm just a new kid on the block.
Well, you are kind of new at it, although you're almost 30. So, but did you know print? I mean, when you were thinking maybe I want to do art, when did you first walk into a printmaking class and say, this is it?
Honestly, the first print I ever pulled, I still remember like it was yesterday. It was a woodblock assignment. And I say it's the best woodblock I ever carved because of just what it started. I still have it. I still have the whole edition just because like how bad it was, but I just have to keep it. It was a woodblock done on birch plywood. The assignment was to find an artist, a printmaker, and you had to copy their style. And I chose Tom Huck, and the print I chose was the Bed of Bones. And the assignment was a fairy tale, but with a twist. And it was a curious girl, so it was like going to be gray and black. And so I did like this hummingbird on top of a pile of teeth because like the tooth fairy here is like, a fairy flying around and everything. In Mexico, is like I grew up with el ratón, like little mouse coming and getting your little teeth. So I decided to put this hummingbird on it and everything. And I struggle so much because I got these really shitty tools from, I can't remember, it was like Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And they were super dull. I couldn't carve anything. So the whole block was carved out with an X-Acto blade. So
What?
I just spent, so I spent the whole, like, I don't know how long the assignment was, but like the side of my index finger, I still can't feel because of how much pressure I was putting on it. But I got the block done though. I got it done on time, had the whole edition. And after I pulled that print, I was like, this is it, you know?
You've injured your finger for life, and you're like, yes, this is it.
Yes, I was like, this is what I do. My girlfriend at the time, like after I did that block, I remember getting picked up by her, and I was like, I think I need to drop out of my other degree. Like I can't keep going. But Marco was like, I don't give out A's. Like that's what he told us the first day. My ex-girlfriend was like, well, think about it, like think about it before you do it. And I told her, I was like, if I get an A in his class, I'm dropping out that moment. And I got my portfolio back. I got a 92 point something, like 0.8 or something. And I opened up the portfolio. I saw the score or my grade, and I told her, I was like, let's go do it. So I like just dropped out and just became a full-on printmaker, or like went through the process to become a printmaker.
Wait, so you were almost done with the other degree in, what was the other degree in?
Exercise science, and I was going to pursue in physical therapy.
Oh, okay.
And
you'd be good at that too.
Yeah, it was, like I don't know, I like things, complicated things like that.
There is an interesting parallel between knowing anatomy in the body and how to fix its ills and the technical ins and outs of printmaking. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I remember the first etching I did. It was a 9x12, and I guess a recreation of Goya, one of the caprichos.
Mm-hmm.
And it was plate number 28. It was called Hush. And I mean, I got obsessed with that too. And he always told me to treat it like a baby, so like his copper is like sensitive and stuff. And I remember, when was it? It was like Friday night or Saturday night. I was working on his aqua tin, and I started freaking out because I see this like oxidation going on the top left corner. And in my head, I was like, I have to burn this copper plate or get rid of it, start over, because I didn't know anything about it. So I remember emailing him, freaking out. And like, poor guy, he emailed me right away saying like to calm down. And I just wanted to, I don't know, make the best art piece I could,
Wait, but this was with Marco? Because
Yeah.
Jason always has students do the capriccio.
Yeah, so it's just, I don't know. I think it becomes a staple in
It's
a
catching.
way, Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, so, and through Marco, that's where I met Jason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we met in SGCI in 2019 or something. It was in Dallas.
Okay, so for everybody, Jason Scuilla is who we're referring to. He was a guest on Platemark about a year ago when we were introducing the Mid-America Print Council conference that he was organizing, and he was encouraging people to, submit for a panel or a demo or one of the various portfolios you guys produced. So he is the professor at Kansas State, and that's where you went for your MFA.
You want to know how I decided to go to K-State?
I do actually want to know, because there are a lot of good, great programs out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jason really has it going on as far as I can see. And it's no surprise to me that you went there, but how did you decide?
Jason came down to Wichita, Kansas to give this artist talk. And, Marco knew that I wanted to go to grad school, and I was applying to all these places. And I really wanted to go to Dallas because it was close to like family and everything. But in the back of my head, I knew if I went down there, I would just get in more trouble and like be distracted.
What?
And yeah, just like I used to love to party. I still do, but not as much as I did before.
Oh, so Dallas being a big city and Manhattan being much smaller?
Yeah, much smaller. But like, so I always had that back in my head. After his artist talk, Jason, his wife Melissa, and Marco and Heidi, which Heidi is Marco's wife, and a really good friend of mine. We went to get food after the artist talk. And, the grown-ups were having their talk, and Emily, my friend and I were having kind of an argument because I wanted to get like this weird like head into like a face tattoo at the time.
What?
And I wanted to get this.
Don't do that.
I know. I know
I'm old school, but don't do it.
So I was like, I gotta get it. Like I need to like, I don't know, look cool, I guess, or whatever. But my friend was like, don't do it. You gotta wait till like you're famous, like Post Malone, and then you can do whatever you want, And I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. So I looked over to Heidi and I told Heidi the same thing. Heidi teaches little kids, and I told her, I was like, Heidi, how do you feel about a face tattoo? And Heidi looked at me and was like, don't you want to teach? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, it would be kind of unprofessional to have something like that. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. And I asked Jason the same thing. And he's probably going to hate me for telling the story, but I got to say it. He was like, I told him, like, what would you, like, say if I got, like, a face tattoo? And he's like, just the way you look right now, just the way you're sitting across from me. If I was going to prison and you were already in prison and I saw you just the way you are, I will punch you in the face to earn the respect out of the other prisoners. Like, I know I will lose, but I would do it to, like, show, like, how crazy I am for nobody to ever mess with me. And I was like, God damn it, this guy understands. This guy's like, so that's how I chose. I was like, all right, Jason, I'm going to K-State with you.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, no, you got to think about it. He did. Later that night, I went out to a party and I texted him at like midnight or 1 a.m. I was like, hey, I decided. So yeah, that's history.
Oh my God. Jason does seem to have his one, eloquent, two, passionate about everything, prints and printmaking particularly, and three, he always seems to like answer your question before you ask it. Like it's like he has some sort of psychic ability.
Yeah, he
got to
you. He got to me. It was it's interesting because I value hard work and working hard, and especially in the things you love, and seeing Marco work on his stuff and him being recognized, and Jason, he's in there every day working hard. And I'm like, that's kind of like the environment that I love to be in, like we all are in this print shop working hard together.
This is the beauty of it all, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I looked at your portfolio online, which does not include, by the way, your very first woodcut. I don't know why.
About to put in the cover of it.
Yeah. But they're definitely, I don't know Marco's work as well as I know Jason's work, but there's definitely some Jason in there, and some of the big heads and the sort of despair, and they're really beautiful.
I don't know. Yeah, I got lucky with these two, not only mentors but friends. Marco, he taught me everything I needed to know to get ready for grad school. Every discipline, wood blocks, etching, litho, screen printing, everything you think of, he taught me. So by the time I got to grad school, it was time to break the rules almost, So I was like just going crazy and experimenting. I think that's one thing that Jason does really well with all his students, is giving yourself permission to like just be yourself.
Because of his NEA project with electrolytic etching, when we were there last week and he was introducing the demonstration that was about to happen, he kept saying, well, we hope that, so-and-so and so-and-so will figure out this other thing. Like he gets the whole, we're all in this, and he can't experiment with every last bit of it, but that everybody will experiment and the whole thing will get developed in a much more collaborative way, which I felt was very, some artists, some professors can be pretty egomaniacal, and curators too. And he just seems to embody the best parts of being an artist, a printmaker, a collaborative professor, like he's kind of like this golden example in my head of how you do it.
When I first started off, I was just, I was a little bit older than everybody else in the classroom, but I was still a baby in the game, and I remember having some, nasty things from other professors, like saying that I will never make it in grad school.
What?
Yeah, like I'll never make it in grad school. And, going there, I learned quick that it's not, you could definitely approach your artwork like you have a chip on your shoulder. But one thing I learned quick was, and I'm glad I'm learned quick, is, it's not always about proving your haters wrong, but it's proving your supporters right. Like, like being there, like you accepted me and you brought me in for a reason, and I wanted to prove that reason right. And, and that's what everything, like anybody who believes in me or anything like that, I want to show you, like, I'm here to help you out too,
Yeah. I mean, you seemed really generous in the shop as well. So I assume that this was all deep within you, despite you being a troublemaker as a kid. And Jason recognizing that he was going to punch you in prison. I don't know. They're kind of at odds with each other for me.
I think it was, I don't know, I think he just knew.
He must have.
Yeah, but
it's a mark of a great teacher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, all the good things I've received or earned has been like through printmaking.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So what are you doing this year? You're teaching at Wichita?
No, I'm in the University of Nebraska in Omaha.
Oh,
I'm
right.
Teaching. I'm teaching adjunct and drawing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, those kids have been inspiring me to draw a little bit more. I'm not a big fan of drawing.
What?
But, yeah, like I think that's another reason why I like not teaching drawing. I love teaching drawing, but I'm talking about my own practice. I think that's why I like printmaking so much too, because it's like drawing but with 50 extra steps.
Right.
Yeah, so like I'm drawing with a little etching needle, or I'm using my carving tools to yank out some wood,
But so True would say that drawing is the spine of the art school.
For sure, it is.
Right. And at the school he's at, the Maryland Institute, that fewer and fewer of the clicky majors are having to do drawing. It used to be that every student who came through had to do drawing 1 and 2. And now that's not true. If you're a pointy clicky, game designer or something, you don't have to do drawing. And it drives him batty.
No, I definitely agree with them. If you're an artist, you definitely should know how to draw. What gets me excited about drawing is that printmaking element of it, after you run to the press, being surprised.
Mm-hmm.
With drawing, you kind of almost see it sometimes.
Right.
Like coming to life versus like a print. There's like a little bit of that unknown coming through.
Right. The magic of the reveal.
Exactly. That's what got me. Yeah.
We talk a lot about how the only parallel really in art that has the same sense of miraculous reveal is ceramics, right? Which you do.
Yeah, I do a little bit of ceramics. My wife, she's a ceramicist. And so like, I don't know, I gotta go play in the mud every once in a while, and make something.
And her name's Mackenzie.
Yeah, Mackenzie. Yeah. And we love what we do so much that our wedding is on our CV. And it's called The Wedding, and it's co-organized with her. And so we got married in her dad's studio, and we set up a little gallery. And we just had our artwork up and some chairs. And our friend Shay, she got ordained to get us married.
Oh my!
So we got married at a one day only art show.
Oh my God! Is Mackenzie's father an artist also?
Also an artist, yeah.
Oh wow! But do you think? I mean, you're both on a year contract, as a contract. Are you looking to move? Not necessarily move, but to find another. I mean, finding a university that has a job for both of you is going to be really tricky.
Yeah, and she's doing this 1 year position here at UNO, and they're going to open up a line for it. So hopefully,
okay, good.
it just becomes a full-time thing.
Right.
Because, what I really want to do is open up my studio and, continue having artists just, come hang out and, do workshops and do all that stuff and, continue the good word and spread printmaking.
So you want to do the big collaborative workshop thing?
I just want to do everything.
You want to do it all?
I want to do it all. In my undergrad, I met Tom Huck. I went to his boot camp when he still was at his old studio. He moved to
downtown St. Louis. Yeah.
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 And I went there, and that kind of like just seeing the huge press and just seeing that environment. It was like, hell yeah, like like this is it, like it's I don't know, it's I love teaching. I love the students. I love how diverse the students can be and what they like and everything. And that's why I feel like still having that workshop element of it, and it's just like continue being able to do that.
You might think about talking to Cole Rogers. Have you met him?
No, I haven't.
He's in Minnesota.
Okay.
In Minneapolis, and he started High Point Editions. He and his
yeah.
partner
I know
Carla, and they formed it as a nonprofit art center with classes in the whole 9 yards, like you would like to do, plus the editioning program, and designed it in a way that it's supposed to last beyond them. And they both have left there and started a new press, CNC Editions. They're coming to the Brooklyn Fine Art Print Fair in March that I'm running. Very exciting.
Oh,
yeah. And they could talk to you about what the template of that looks like and how hard it was or how easy or not,
I think that's another reason why I want to do it, because how difficult it's going to be. I want to see it, I don't know. I like a challenge. I like a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's funny you say Minnesota. That press I got, it's from the university from up there.
They were getting rid of a press?
One of those schools up there. The press I got was their Charles brand. It had a giant motor on it. Steve, who sold me this press, I told him, I was like, I don't know. I don't trust myself with a big old motor on the press, So he changed it out, made it manually, and brought it down to me. And I'm pretty sure I got their press.
Oh my God. It's amazing to me where all the presses go to, Was that Steve Robinson?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never met Steve Robinson, but I want to talk to somebody who does what he does, because Perry has been not wanting to talk to me. I think he's just shy. Come on, Perry.
But I'll definitely send you his email. I could get you all connected.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you. Connections.
Steve is awesome. He's a joker, kind of like me, so I think that's why we get along. We're just always joking and talking shit together.
Nice. Super cool. So you have a press for intaglio and relief?
Yeah, it's 3 feet by 5 feet, Charles Bryan press. Wow. Yeah, it's big. It's in my garage. I look at her every morning.
And haven't gotten to the litho aspect yet?
I wanted to get another press for it, but yeah, I do a little bit of litho. I stick more to wood carvings and etchings.
I think it's fine. There's no reason why you have to do it all,
Yeah.
Except for your own need.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, litho's fun. It's just complicated real quick. I guess all of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's how it seems to me. Like, what? How did that work? I don't get it.
Yeah, that's how my wife is the same way. I'm telling her about this process, and she just goes over her head. And then when she talks to me about glazes and cone 6 and cone 10, I was like, temperatures, numbers.
Nice.
But
well, so tell me a little bit about your work.
I do wood carvings and etchings. Those are the two that I really tend to focus on. And with my wood carvings, I tend to do a lot of portraits. It started in my undergrad, and I will do this process of interviewing people, kind of like I don't know if Hernandez Wiley does this, but I saw his paintings when I was in St. Louis with Huck. I saw his paintings, and I saw all these beautiful portraits of people. When I got back, being inspired, in St. Louis and seeing, got into Wiley's portraits and just like how almost godly it looked, and like how he, portrayed these people. And I was like, I don't know, I started looking at people around me that was really just inspiring, like that affected me in a way, For example, the last one I did was of a friend. Her name is Coral. And Coral came down she lives in South Dakota, drove down to Manhattan to come to my thesis show. I guess Mackenzie's in my thesis show. And with the work that I had up, I was talking about the struggles of being Mexican American. And, there's a saying that you can never be brown enough for the brown people, and you can never be, so like living in this like in between part of society, like it doesn't feel like neither side wants anything to do with you because of whatever. And I was talking about like stereotypes, and I was talking about just things that I went through and everything. And, when she showed up, she got emotional, and she was like, I don't know, it was this, I get uncomfortable sometimes with emotions. And so I was
You're
like,
not alone.
yeah. So I was like, I don't know, I felt like I did something wrong or something, and I was just like checking in with her, see, like she was cool and, all that stuff. And she was just like telling me her experiences as being half white to being half Mexican. So all that stuff that I was worried about from society, she's also has to face, behind closed doors with her family. There's like, some tension or whatever. And that kind of brought me back a little bit to reality because, I live in the studio. I like to live in the studio. I'm a studio rat. And, like I'm so in my own world, I forget about other things like that, for example. And I don't know, I interviewed her, and when I interview people, usually they're just talking in front of me, and I take photos wherever they're posing like or whatever. That I find the right one that kind of shows who they are a little bit, and we kind of like both agree on it. And then, with that being said, like I use these birds to create these vocab. So like I use a cardinal to represent the American side because there's stories behind how cardinals come back and visit people, in the afterlife.
Is that right?
And yeah, so it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just a Midwest thing, but I don't know, the people will be like, oh, I saw a cardinal today. That was my mother visiting me, or my dad, or yeah. So it was like these like stories about that. And then, in the indigenous side in Mexico, you see the same thing about hummingbirds. So it was interesting to see different cultures, and they can still relate, even though it's just like this line between them, And that's why those two birds kind of start coming in my work. And, sometimes they're talking to each other. Sometimes, you have to kill one off for the other one to have a conversation. Ooh. And so it's like this, I don't know, creating my own vocab because I'm not very good at expressing what I'm going through. In Mexico, the word is called machismo.
Right.
And so it's like you have to be like this tough guy, no emotion, all this other stuff. And so, people were more valuable. You just, stay quiet and do your work type of thing. And with these birds, yeah, it was kind of give me the freedom to express some deeper thing, And
are we talking about the portrait of the girl with the flowers and the two birds hanging, birds calling? Okay.
Yeah.
Both birds are dead.
Right.
Okay. A. And B, you've got a giant X through her.
Yeah.
Well, there's more layers than you're like.
Yeah, so that's where, so you're right. There's a lot of layers, I guess. One thing I got a lot from her story was kind of, sometimes you just got to kill off everything and become your own person. and letting go of what other people might think of you, and not really giving a shit about what people say, like politics or stuff that's going on home. And, there's always this mark on you, even even if you do decide to kill it off, there's still going to be people going to be looking at you a certain way. In the middle of the block is a nest, and it's kind of like a little, the baby bird left home,
It's heartbreaking and hopeful at the same time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of my work is like that. I tend to stick to black and white just because, a lot of stuff that I tend to think about or tend to pursue to make is more coming from the past. If that makes sense. I think black and white is the color of ghost and memories.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all these stories that, I love. I don't know. I love stories and storytelling, and hearing people's stories.
Well, I think the nod back to history, True always said, if black and white and red were good enough for the Bible, it's good enough for me.
Yeah. Man, true.
True.
Always speaking facts.
Yeah, he's full of it, like in a good way. Yeah. All right, now let's turn to I'm going to click over to the etchings because they so remind me of some of Jason's things, which is great, of course, because he makes beautiful things. Yeah, I mean they're all shaped plates, right? Okay, so go.
So my etchings, God, I don't know how to explain it. It's I think it's a good way to show. I like to torture myself sometimes because I love stippling, I love cross hatching, and I love all the little details that goes into it, especially like in etching that allows you to go that detail. Most of those prints, like the bigger ones on there, because I forgot what size they were, but they're pretty big. And they are shape kind of funky. I used to mess around with jeweler saw, and I used to cut out. So I have this print. I tried it first in undergrad. I hated the print, so I retried it again my first year at grad school, and it's called Dewar Skull. And I love Dewar. I think most carvers do. Yeah. But so I did this little skull, and I used a jeweler saw, and I just cut out the eyes and the around the jaw area, and then shaped the whole plate like a skull. And it looks awesome. I think it looks pretty cool, but that's it though. It just looked cool,
Meaning there's no real reason to have cut the plate. It doesn't add anything to the meaning. Yeah.
Exactly. It was just kind of like, I don't know. It was just there, And I remember going to the Wichita Art Museum, and they were having this printmaking show, and I had some friends in it, and so I went over there and looked at all the woodcuts they had there. After I was done with the show, on the main floor they had this book fair, or like a book sale of used books. I found this guy named I can't remember his last, or I can't pronounce it. It's called Yuri Andrew. He's like Eastern European or even Russian, I think. I looked at 2 pages, and I was like, all right, this is pretty cool, So I bought it. I went home. I looked through the whole book. I read everything I could read. And this guy, he would just aggressively cut his plates. My dad is a welder, and he's kind of a hoarder too when it comes to welding tools. Nobody needs 30 grinders, Maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 max, but like 30, come on, you're pushing it a little bit. But he has all these metal cutting tools. I just finished this plate, and in my head, it was like just right? So I was like, I need to try it. I need to cross the line, whatever it was. And so I just got a grinder, and I just started cutting it, and I just started making holes using a grinder to cut it up. And then I printed the plate, and I was like, this is close. And then I just kept going. It's like when you first learn how to draw, you don't want to go too dark because it'll be like dark, it'll be too dark. And so for me, I was like very timid with it until after I printed. I was like, I'm overthinking this. I'm being a punk. I gotta just go in and do it. So I just start cutting it, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's the hummingbird dead on the bottom of the print. It was like perfectly stippled. I thought it was like nice. He did. And then I realized that
Cold Heavens is the one you're talking about?
Cold Heavens, that's the one, yes.
Yeah, it's 12 by 18 is the size of most of these.
12 by 18. Yeah, 12 by 18. And I like cut it up, printed it, and I love seeing the stages it goes through. Gets people a little guessing sometimes of like what's the print, what's not the print, what's the paper,
Sure. But I think in this case it works because the drill holes they look almost like air bubbles.
Yeah.
Leaving, your body as it's expiring. And the cuts too just looks like compression, and the world we once lived in is no longer that, and it's all claustrophobic. It works really well.
Yeah, I was also focusing on contradictions of, for example, like Cold Heavens. I don't know, like when I think of heaven, I think of a warm place. If heaven is real, I think of like a warm place, and I don't know, comforting. Now cold. So I was kind of like messing around with titles too. I think I not the best at titles, but
you know how I feel about titles, Brian. Have you ever heard me talk about titles?
I don't think I have.
I don't want the title to be necessary to understand the work.
I agree.
Okay.
And
these could all be untitled and we'd still get it.
Yeah, I agree.
Not that you should say untitled on everything, but don't worry about it quite so much.
No, I stress about it because there's some artists out there that really like come up with the coolest names. I was like,
no.
Yeah.
All right. Next time you're titling some things, just, give me a jingle and we'll have a little chat about it.
Sounds good.
Okay. And pricing too. Pricing is another one. You guys are terrible. I couldn't believe how many people said to me when I said, how much is that print at the open portfolios at MAPC?
They freak out.
No, they didn't freak out. They just said, I don't know. I'm like, you're sitting here selling your work and you have no price list in your head.
Yeah, it's like a deer in the headlights. I get the same way. I'm not.
And then they're like, it's $25. I'm like, no, it's not.
Bump it up a little bit.
A little bit. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, pricing's another story. Back to the etchings.
Yeah. So with the etchings, I think the main reason why I feel like I need to finish my plates up like that is because I don't feel tired working on them. Like with wood carvings, your hands hurt. There's like this physical element to it that is kind of draining. And with etchings, I mean, like I could stip all day and my eyes hurt, but that's about it, And I feel like this almost like guilt because, I do think about my family who's like are immigrants. They're working hard as hell too, and I need to put some sweat into it,
Wait, you're saying, what you're saying is that if you don't work hard enough and hurt enough at the end of something that you've somehow gotten off easy?
Yeah, that's another thing I learned about myself. It's I could be very toxic to myself sometimes.
Wow. You're going to put my number on speed dial.
It's just, it's like I could be very toxic to myself sometimes. I mean, in my undergrad, Marco would yell at me all the time to go home and get some sleep because, I was just living in the studio and, working 12 hours a day, just trying to pump out work.
But it's also because you love it. Exactly.
Yeah, because I love it. Yeah. And like, I had this like weird torture artist mentality that I don't know if everybody goes through it or it was just me being, I don't know, weirdo, but I had to, I don't know, feel it, And
you could try engraving.
I love dry point. Dry point is so much fun.
Just saying.
Engraving. Yeah, I tried it once, and I need to get back into it or try it again.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some speed bump you have to get over till you really find the groove, you know?
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. That was not an intentional joke, sorry.
Own
I'm
it.
not that clever.
Own it. That was written down somewhere.
Not gonna use it again though, that's for sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So after your year of teaching, will you be ready to open up and make a run at the workshop?
Yeah. So after grad school, I stayed another year at Manhattan to cover Jason's sabbatical.
Oh, right.
And so I did a year long sabbatical cover, and running that whole studio, as you saw at MAPC. That was a lot of fun. That allowed me to be close to the conference planning, and I love the whole thing about it. But I'm now moving to Omaha, and with the press, it's new, and it's a weird position because we hope that you get to stay here, and because I've been trying to make a lot of noise around here to get my stuff out there. I'm I'm the new kid on the block, so I want to put my stuff out there. But I have met a lot of awesome artists around here, and a lot of them are interested in, or some of them are interested in getting onto the press. Yeah, I hope so.
Is there a large printmaking community there? And are there workshops for people to make prints at?
I've heard of some of them, but as you know, most of the presses are on universities and stuff like that. But
right. You might go over to Lincoln and talk to Karen Kuntz.
Yeah, I met her at the conference.
Good.
And I told her I was going to go over there and bug her.
Good.
And pick her brain. Yeah, I heard a lot of great things, and I finally had a chance to meet her at the conference, and she invited me over and everything.
Good.
But
she would, because she's that kind of person for sure.
I've nothing but good things about her, and when I met her, it's I don't know, I was want to give her a big old hug.
Were you fanboying?
Yeah, it was I was fangirling the whole time, to be honest.
So was I.
The whole time at the conference, finally get a chance to meet you, meet True, and then
Miranda.
Yeah, Miranda.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evan Summers.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
his work's beautiful.
Yeah, Miles, Ryan O'Malley, Michael Barnes. I finally bought one of his prints.
Oh, good.
And so I was hell yeah, So I was fangirling the whole time, to be honest.
Yeah, it was really fun. I met, I don't even know how many of them, probably 4 or 5 people that have been guests on the pod that I'd never met in person.
Is that a little weird for you? You get to know them, you get to know me here, but meeting them through the podcast versus in person first. You and I met in person first.
It's true.
Before doing this. It's a good icebreaker for sure.
Yeah, it is, but it is funny because I can't see the screen without my glasses. So when I approach them at the conference without my glasses on, people stare at me like, "Why are you looking at me?" I'm like, "It's me, Platemark and Schaefer."
Yeah, it's I always wonder because you're up there, and all those people are a little bit everywhere.
Yes, people are everywhere. Yeah, I've talked to people in Poland and Australia, and it's fun.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of the internet, obviously. But yeah, it was fun. I'm trying to think who. Oh yeah, I met Karen for the first time, Karen Kuntz for the first time, Teresa Cole for the first time, Aaron Wolitz for the first time, Michael Barnes. Anyway, but yeah, it's great to put faces on people, and Jason, obviously.
Yeah, Jason, yeah, for sure. I only got to speak to him for a little bit. He was actually on his way to hang out with y'all at the rooftop.
Yes, it's a long story, but I had posted that Drew and I were coming out that morning, I think it was, and Jennifer, Jen, Huck's wife, said to him, "Ann and Drew are going to be there. Ann and Drew are going to be there." And he's like, "No, they're not. No, they're not." So he texted me, which he does frequently, by the way. I'm on his short dial list. We always talk prices before he publishes something, just so you know. He's like, "I heard you're coming to Manhattan, whatever. I'll meet you when you hit the ground." So he was parked in front of our Airbnb when we pulled up.
Shoot.
And we just hung out all night. It was great. It was fun.
Yeah, I was surprised he showed up too.
Yeah, well, it
Like he
wasn't on
was
purpose. Like he wasn't part of the conference. I don't even think he's
right.
a member at this point. But he heard that Barnes was there and all these other people were there, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going to go over there for the day. Why not?"
yeah. I mean, I'm sure.
He was
Yeah, it was.
crashing the party.
Yeah, it was good to see him. We had like a 5 minute conversation. Man, I'm still like thinking about the conference. Like I know it's only been a week, but I'm still like,
You're still coming down.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like I'm still thinking about. I don't know if I told you. I was making a joke the whole time I was there. I was like, I will wake up at 3 in the morning just thinking about emails and making sure that I like catch up on everybody and or like making sure that everybody was getting replies and on the same page and everything. And I'm just thinking about how 2 years of planning for a few days there, and it was amazing. I don't know. I think we accomplished the mission of just making a awesome conference for printmakers and printmaking nerds, and having everybody just have a good time and fangirl.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, organizing an event like that is no small feat, but it was great for. I mean, the educational offerings were great also, but
hmm
just being able to converse with people that you've always wanted to, or meet, see their work in person instead of online, or
Yeah,
yeah, it was my first one. It was really totally worth it. It was great.
it was my first one too, and yeah, I was like helping planning it. I was like, I think I should have went to a different one first, to see how.
Yeah, your next one will be like, I don't know what to do with myself. All I have to do is
Yeah,
attend things.
yeah. I was talking. Yeah, I talked to Jason and Mackenzie about that. How like it's gonna be hard just to hang out
Yeah,
after all that. But yeah, it was a great experience, and like grateful for everybody who showed up and showed support, and having people like yourself there. It was really awesome.
it was fun. It was really
Yeah,
fun. Are there things that we haven't talked about that we should talk about before we close out? It's kind of in the in between space right now. Like
yeah,
you're not sure you're staying in Omaha. Hopefully you'll be able
yeah.
to settle
It's
somewhere for, more than a year soon.
yeah,
And in 5 years you will have this great workshop going that's going to
yeah,
serve all the
yeah,
needs of all the peoples, and it's going to be awesome.
yeah. I just with how good printmaking has been to me, I just want to give back, and continue being part of the community. And as you saw at the conference, it was everybody was there for each other and supporting each other. You saw like at the open portfolio or the everybody had the tables out, and everybody just giving each other compliments, and like it was like super nice to see. And that's my printmaking goal: be able to continue my work and be able to help everybody from who are babies just starting off to everybody in between. Yeah, I just want to be able to give back and show some love to something as printmaking that helped me a lot in my life. And I want to be able to not necessarily convert everybody to printmakers, but help people find what they love to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I try to do with my students. If they love to draw, let's get to drawing. If we do printmaking, let's do printmaking. Let's do printmaking. If you do paintings, let's push some paint. And thank you for having me on here and helping me calm the nerves too.
I think the mission of the podcast is to
Yeah,
give a platform to people to share their stories and to introduce you to a listening audience that, maybe someone out there is like, oh, I got to go work with him. I love his prints, blah, 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 or whatever, So hopefully connections will happen. Yeah.
yeah. If you're in the Omaha area or anything like that, if you want to get dirty with some ink, just hit me up. We could do some cool stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah. Like I said, thank you for all this. And so you started in 2020, right? Or 21?
No, it took till 21 for me to get all of my ducks in a row because I wasn't really sure how to start. So somebody kind of walked me through all the steps because I had no idea about the technology and how many different pieces it takes. And
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot.
it
Like,
is a lot.
I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's been good. I left my job, my beloved job at the museum in 2017, not under my
okay,
own. We had a new director and he cleaned house after I stopped crying, which was about 3 years in. I was lamenting remaining relevant in the field and somehow creating something that would be meaningful to the ecosystem, as I didn't call it then, but now call it. And between the podcast and working on these print fairs that we're doing, I feel like now actually a player on the field again, which is nice.
I'm glad you did it, though.
Yeah, it makes me feel good. The interesting part is that as a museum person, it would never occur to me or any of my fellow curators to attend an MAPC or SGCI because it's full of the academic, maker people and the student people and sort of this other realm of people than where we were operating. And so now that I'm closer to the maker section of the ecosystem rather than the museum curator section, it's a whole other world, and it's full of the best people. So it's just been a total joy to get to know everybody.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a big old spectrum of people, huh?
Yes, it is. It is, but everybody has, you're probably the baddest ass of the people I've talked to so far. Like, nobody's told me about getting a face tattoo yet or going to prison.
Yeah, it was...
you have such a pretty face. Why would you mar it with a tattoo?
I don't know. It was just a spontaneous thing that I'm glad it didn't happen. Maybe it will happen later in the future. But...
No. Give me Mackenzie's number. I'll get her to talk you out of it.
Yeah, like it was... I don't know. I'm glad I had that thought because it's just reassured like my future a little bit more. It was a funny argument with all of us on the table and led to something, it led to this, like you and I meeting to MAPC led to all this stuff. And it was, I don't regret the conversation at all.
Good. Excellent. The threat is one thing, but doing is another. I love the threat. It was like, this guy and I are going to get along. Oh my gosh. Do you have tattoos? I don't have any tattoos. Do you have tattoos?
Yeah, I got my first one was with Huck at graduation.
Oh, funny.
He did my second tattoo is actually the first Goya that I did with Marco.
Nice.
And it's called Hush, and it's like this lady whispering into this other lady, and I like joke around. I'm like, which one is Jason? Which was Marco? And
nice.
And it's another cool thing about a tattoo. Well, I think it's cool. The person who made it, his name is Marcus Gilbert. I think is his last name. He has a tattoo shop in Manhattan, and he was actually Marco's student when Marco was a grad student.
Ah.
So before I left Manhattan, I was like, I gotta keep it within the family, and that was pretty cool to like have him do it.
It makes so much sense. So there's a handful of students that True has taught over the years that are now tattoo artists and doing really well. I mean, their drawing skills are spot on. So. I mean, True's got a bazillion tattoos at this point, and I'm just like, I'm such a weenie. I don't think it looks like it hurts.
It tickles a little bit.
Tickles? I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends where you get it.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on Platemark, Bryan. It's been lovely talking to you, and I wish you the best with all of the things that are happening in your life. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. But yeah, thank you for having me on, and thank you for going to the conference and just, being part of all of this. And thank you for starting your podcast too.
Sure. It's been my pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Platemark with my guest, Bryan Raymundo. I'd like to thank him for being a wonderful guest. Thanks, Bryan. It was great talking to you. I also, of course, as usual, need to thank my other support system peoples. That includes Dan Fury of Extension Audio. Thanks for being my sound guy, Dan. And also Michael Diamond for using his original music. Thank you, Uncle Michael. And then to Skip Barnhart and Lee Turner, who forwarded me soundscapes from their studios that I put together at the top and bottom of each episode. Images that Bryan and I talk about are over in the show notes at platemarkpodcast.com. I think you know that. And also over there, you could hit the support and donate button and help me keep the lights on. I think that's it. I think that's it. Is that it? I think that's it. We'll see you next time.